Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 35. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Rachel Parker. Rachel is the CEO of Resonant Content Marketing, a self-described geek who can recite the entire episode of South Park by heart. She has a passion for content ever since she was old enough to hold a crayon. Throughout her 15 years of marketing career, 5 of those spent as a copywriter in one of Houston's largest advertising agencies. She has helped many brands such as Reliant Energy, Hewlett Packard, AIG American General, and Foodservice to connect with their customers. Over the years, she has developed a distinct talent for being able to communicate in the voice of the client. Rachel also is a classic trained soprano, a mother, a wife, and a gym rat. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Patience. Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming. I know the clan here is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your online business? Take it right up to the last job or a business before you are online.
Okay, wonderful. Well, as marketers go, I have probably one of the most unconventional backgrounds that you will find. I actually, when I went to university, I majored in political science and had a dream of getting my PhD and becoming a professor. And life had other ideas. I did not make it to a PhD program, so. I kind of wandered around and took some jobs here and there after I got out of school to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. And I was at one point I was working for a Prudential Insurance Company, and I was laid off because offices were combining. And I kind of put my foot down and said, okay, I'm going to decide what I want to do. What's going to make me happy? Forget my education, forget experience. What am I going to be excited to get up and do every day? So I did a little soul searching and took some evaluations, and everything came down to writing. Writing was what I really enjoyed about every job that I'd had so far. So I started looking into that, and it's like, okay, well, if your name is not Stephen King or J.K. Rowling, how could you make a living as a writer? And that's how I found marketing. I found that the marketing world does need copywriters to create all those wonderful ads and newsletters and all the other stuff that they do. And so that's how my career as a marketer began. And I started off in the corporate world working for Cardinal Health, and then from there I switched over to the agency side, worked at one of Houston's largest advertising agencies as a copywriter and a brand strategist for several years, and then for a few years I went back to the corporate side and worked at Reliant Energy for a couple of years. I led their online copywriting team, and that gets us right up to 2010, which is when I decided to start my own business.
Wow, that's a great background, Rachel. So help us connect with you. Tell us one thing, either a business or a personal, that we want to know about you, even if we've been following you for a while now.
One thing to know about me is that my approach to what I do is very simple. You're not going to ever see me either writing a blog post or recording a podcast or doing a speech where I like to use a whole bunch of technical jargon and big words, and I'm all about simplicity. And that's one thing my clients love about working with us, is that we can take a very complex topic and turn it into very simple communications. And no matter how educated your audience is, everyone appreciates simple communications. So that's what I would say there.
Wow. Okay. Now you've been in business for over 15 years. So now people think, oh, she's been in business for 15 years. She's successful. She never had any problems. Did you ever had any setbacks or failures while setting up your online business?
Well, first of all, it's been 5 years since I've had my business. I've been in marketing for over 15, but I started my business back in 2010. So just celebrated 5 years. And
Wow.
oh my goodness, have I had problems? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, when I started off, it's funny, Patience, because I came from a family where risk was a four-letter word. That was just not the idea of someone taking an idea, saying, "Hey, this is a great idea. I'm going to start a company around it." Just didn't happen. And the be all and end all was to go work for a big fancy company and get a nice cushy office and retire there. So. So when I started my business, I really did not have much in the way of guidance, and I made a lot of mistakes. Including financial. I spent money on things that, looking back, I'm like, wow, I could have used that so much better. And I think the biggest mistake that I made early on was not understanding the whole business development aspect of owning a business. It's that, I thought I was gonna start this content company, and I was just gonna write all day long. And it really did not become clear to me that I needed to spend the majority of my time out there promoting this business because I need to keep bringing in new clients. So, I was actually blessed early on with a very large client. It was a large oil and gas company here in Houston, and it was great. We chugged along with them for a while, but then they went away, and I had a couple of smaller clients, but that was a big chunk of my revenue that went away, and I didn't have a replacement for it. So that was a very difficult and painful lesson on the importance of keeping that business development going.
Oh. I know the clan is anxious to hear about how you go through this in part two, but for now, tell us, what do you think is the reason for your online success journey?
The reason for my online success journey is, um, I think it's a combination of quality and consistency. I create more content than anyone I know. I have a weekly blog. I have a weekly podcast. I have a weekly newsletter. I've done tons of videos, and people see me out there consistently, and I think that's so important. That's what I try to stress to my clients. The secret, or the beauty of content marketing, is that it allows to get in front of our target audience on a regular basis without pummeling them with the same marketing messages. We're getting in front of them with something valuable, something that makes their lives better, something that helps them do their jobs better. Um, so through a lot of discipline, I've been able to be very consistent and very committed to quality, because there's a lot of junk out there. So I've built a level of trust with my audience to where they see a blog post with my name on it, or a podcast with my name on it. They know they're going to get something that is rich and valuable, and that's going to be worth their time.
Mhm. But Rachel, what is the content marketing? Because content can be confusing. You see the
Hmm.
YouTube, the Facebook, the LinkedIn. Where do we stand?
I know. Absolutely. And that, when I first start talking to clients, they are just so overwhelmed by everything that is out there. Um, Content marketing is, in its essence, it's maintaining a line of communications with your audience without selling. So it's providing a blog post that helps them solve a problem, or creating a YouTube video that shows them how to do something, as opposed to getting in front of them saying, "Hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff." Um, and when you get into it, it can be overwhelming because there's so many options out there. There's the blogging, there's the email, there's Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and now Snapchat is becoming a big thing, and people are just overwhelmed by it all. But the secret is, and I work with my clients on this all the time. Bring everything back around to your audience. What are the topics that they're interested in, and how do they like to get their content? Are they on Twitter? Are they more of a LinkedIn crowd? and really focusing on where you can get get the best results for your efforts when you go out there and create content. And one thing that, when people say, okay, I don't have a big budget, I don't have a lot of time, what do I start with? Um, I say you cannot go wrong with a wonderful email, e-newsletter, if you will. That's kind of an outdated term, but if you can get in front of your audience once a week through email, that is a tremendous start to your content marketing journey. And then you can go ahead and add things on top of that. You can add the blog, you can add the social media. But the biggest mistake that you can do is to try to do everything, because after a couple of weeks, you'll just be totally burned out and not know what's working and what's not. So I always advise people to start simple, start with what you know, and then gradually grow from there.
Wow. Okay. Wow. We might not get confused again. So, Rachel, we know that everyone online wants to have their needs met, problem solved. Also,
Mhm.
my client group is hungry entrepreneurs wanting the same thing. So they want to move their business forward. So, what is your focus and specialty online?
Especially online, I mean, online it's a very challenging, it's a very challenging venue because there are so many blogs out there. There is so much content. And what I've been able to do online is, people have brands and people talking at them all the time, 24 hours a day. But what I try to do is to take that into a personal conversation. Like if someone leaves a comment on my blog, I start a conversation. Even if they have something negative to say, I'll say, well, what did you, if they make a comment about it, I'll say, oh, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. And here's what I was trying to express here. What do you think about that? And that is what it's definitely something that sets me apart, and great marketers, I think that's what sets them apart as well. They really look for opportunities to start those personal conversations and really connect on a personal level.
Hmm. So, Rachel, tell us the secret that every marketer should know about content marketing.
The secret that every marketer should know is
Mm.
that you should absolutely be obsessing over your audience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, um, because those are your people. And it astonishes me when I go to people and I say, well, who is your audience? And they say, well, pretty much everybody. And that's okay. First of all, that's not true. And then what we do is we go through some exercises to really narrow down who is that person, as I like to put it, whose eyeballs do you want on the other side of that blog post, and really get into not only, women aged 30 to 45 with children, but really get into that person's that person's brain and their psyche. What are their problems? What are their hopes and dreams for the future? Um, what do they complain about? What do they think is wonderful in the world? And then once you really understand that customer, then we can create content that is absolutely laser focused on on that customer's needs, on that audience's needs, and then they're going to be much more likely to sit up and take notice when they do see us out there online.
Wow. I know you have this program where you say the 5 things to the customer. So where do we find this program?
Yes, I do have a complimentary audio. It's called Five Things You Must Know About Content Marketing. And it's a complimentary audio. It's an MP3. You can download it, listen to it at the gym or while you're in your car. And you can get your own copy of that by going to contentmarketingaudio.com. That's all one word, contentmarketingaudio.com.
Wow. Clan, Rach is going to hang out and share more information about her journey with us. If you can relate to where Rachel started her travels so far, or if you just want to listen about Rachel, the next version at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are listening at the journey by clicking on part 2 of Rachel's journey, you'll get even more tips and be the queen of marketing and outdo Rachel. Who knows next? But so check out Rachel's program, 5 things you must know about content marketing at contentmarketingaudio.com. Okay, clan, that's a wrap. Remember, success is a journey. Patience and Rachel, join us in part 2 at onlinesuccessjourney.com.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path, so make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.